Hey guys, what's up? Can you believe it's been 4 years of Marvel Future Fight? I kinda can't. It's pretty surreal to be playing a mobile game for 4 years straight, but that's where we find ourselves. It's the 4-year anniversary of Marvel Future Fight. So rather than getting all gushy and standing on ceremony and stuff like that, I thought I would bring you guys some tips for all of the 4-year anniversary stuff that we've now gotten. So if you're not really familiar with what's going on, there's basically 3 things. There's 2 items in your inbox if you've been logging in. Actually, it doesn't even matter if you've been logging in. If you log in today, there will be 2 items in your inbox under the Notices tab, and that is the new 4-year anniversary celebration comic card, which you can all get for free. It's 1 per account. It's not available anywhere else. So this is really just a commemorative item. It's not a it's not meant to be something that you'll be able to collect later, so chances are you should probably save it if you're any type of collector. The second thing you'll see is in the gift tab, and it is the event reward, and it is the tier 2 character selector. So we're going to be talking about what to do with this. It's got a 6-day expiry, so you can't really wait for any new update. There's generally not going to be anything, but if you want to wait until the last minute, you can. Just don't forget to use it because it's pretty powerful, and we'll talk about this in just a second. In addition to those 2 items, we also have a new sale in the shop called the 4-year anniversary booster pack. We'll talk about this in just a second. And then most importantly, we have a new 56 day check-in event. So a 2-month check-in event with super goodies like 1200 crystals, a mega rank up ticket, a tier 2 ticket, and a bunch of 6-star characters and, other materials, a little bit of tier 3 materials splashed in there. But for those of you wondering about the tier 3 event, the tier 3 material event and the uniform rank up ticket event, that one clearly has not landed yet. So I don't know if they're waiting for part 2 of Endgame or if they're waiting for tomorrow or something, but we should be getting an event later on, whether it's a token event or some other kind of event. That's the one we're really waiting for with the uniform rank up tickets, rare uniform rare ticket, uniform advanced ticket to take a uniform up 1 step, and then of course the juicy tier 3 materials. So I want to cover all of those 3 things, give you some tips, give you some advice. So first off, for the card, it actually doesn't have the worst stats in the world. Everyone will complete this collection for having the card. It's a 1 recovery rate bonus. It's pretty much useless. But as far as the card itself goes, if you happen to get a really good roll, and I got possibly the worst roll possible, I mean it's a 2 quality instead of a 1 quality, that's great. But yeah, getting resistances twice and getting movement speed and energy defense is pretty much garbage. Energy attack is a good first stat. All attack would have been better. Recovery rate is generally a very weak stat. Now, if you're a super defensive, super PvP type player and you love Wolverine and Deadpool specifically, maybe you can find some use for this card. And maybe if this card is rolled perfectly the first time, I'm talking ignore defense or max HP on the first slot, attack speed or cooldown on the second, or I guess dodge if you really need it, crit damage on the third, and then all attack on the fourth, it might be usable. But the fact that you have so many good stats that are competing with each other, you have max HP or ignore defense, you have attack speed or cooldown or dodge, and then you have physical attack or all defense, really means that this card is probably, C to B tier. It's not a very good card. It's not a tier 1 card. It's barely a tier 2 card. So generally speaking, you would just lock it for the nostalgia of it. And I also have the card that they gave away last year, this one, for the 3-year anniversary. And again, it's a pretty bad card. I mean, it has slightly better stats for PvP than that card does. And I think it's a little bit more usable, especially if you get the HP bonus. But it's still not as tier 1 as a lot of the other cards in the game that have that little P, that little premium tag on them, and have that shine, as you can see there. It's pretty indicative of their value. So that covers the card. For the tier 2 selector, which I think is what the majority of you guys are watching this video for, I have some tips for you, and I've covered this in previous videos, but I do want to reiterate. The way that I see it, there's basically 2 main branching paths for the tier 2 character selector. Now, one major character that I usually reference and I usually say is one of the most efficient choices is Sharon Rogers. She's no longer a good idea. She's probably one of the, actually she is the worst idea to choose from the tier 2 selector. And the reason for that is with the new Shield Academy, you automatically get, at the bottom here, I'm covering it with my camera, so I'll hide it now, you get a Tier 2 Sharon Rogers just by completing the Academy events. You get a 6-star Sharon Rogers at level 1, and then when you get to level 5, which is extremely easy, you will get automatically a Tier 2 Sharon Rogers. So everyone in the game, even if you started today, you can unlock a Tier 2 Sharon Rogers on the very first day, and you can just start, mowing down and blowing up enemies. And so you definitely should not choose her from the Tier 2 selector. However, I think the 4 most efficient choices, and these are characters who are both very strong and also very difficult for newer players to get, are as follows. In no particular order, you've got Minerva, you've got Morgan Le Fay, you've got Iron Hammer, and then you've got Shuri. All 4 of these characters cannot be farmed efficiently or effectively or consistently in any game mode whatsoever. You have to use bioselectors, or you have to get ungodly lucky from Legendary Battle. It's just not happening. And those 4 characters are all very strong on their own, and in Shuri's case, she also provides a great bonus at Tier 2. So that's why she's even better at Tier 2 than a lot of these other Tier 2 characters, because she gives that team passive to all heroes and villains. If you wanted to get a little bit more specific, I think Morgan Le Fay and Iron Hammer are slightly better than Minerva, because to realize her full potential, she does need a uniform. However, she's still very strong without her uniform. As far as what to do after the most efficient choices, I think the most effective choice, now this character is farmable, but probably stronger than all of the other characters I just mentioned, is Human Torch. He's by far one of the best free-to-play characters in the game, and he may be the strongest character that you can choose from this list, especially without a uniform. He's insanely strong. I know they changed around his 5th skill, healing, but it's still very good. He heals for like 10,000 when I do it. And so he's definitely a fantastic choice if you just want to get a really strong character fast. If you don't want to be as efficient as possible, then you can use it on him. If you don't want to waste any kind of resources and you want to be as efficient as possible, choose one of the other 4 that I mentioned, and you can still farm Human Torch from the Like Brothers Epic Quest mission, so you don't actually have to use him here. Beyond those characters, there's a few tech choices that I would suggest. Tech choices means characters that aren't necessarily good, but they provide some sort of team benefit. She-Hulk is the first one, and you can actually choose all 3 of the A-Force members, Sister Grimm and Singularity. So I think for some of the kind of older free-to-play veterans, they might choose one of these 2 characters because they may not even have them at Tier 2 yet. But if you don't have She-Hulk at all, she is a very good leadership, one of the best in the game. Keep in mind, you don't need her Tier 2 for her leadership. You only need her at 6 stars. So she's probably best kept as a 6-star selector character. But if you're super desperate for a leadership and you have all the other characters that I mentioned, she's honestly not a bad choice. And she's actually functional. She's usable as a standalone character with her new Fantastic Four uniform. A couple of other tech choices, they're right next to each other. Phil Coulson and Warwolf. Again, both farmable in different ways. Warwolf is actually quite hard to farm, so he may be closer to a more efficient choice. He's actually much more efficient than Phil Coulson, but both Warwolf and She-Hulk are extremely difficult to farm because you need to use the honor token shops. You actually can't even farm them simultaneously because you have to decide which one you're going to use them on. Unlike She-Hulk, Warwolf actually does need to be Tier 2 to take advantage of his passive. You can still pass his 5th skill on, but the Tier 2 passive won't apply if he's 6 stars. So he's actually a bit better of a choice than She-Hulk for a Tier 2 selector if you need a bonus support character, and he synergizes well with the new CTP of Rage. Coulson is farmable, but he's a shit character. You'll never use him for anything other than support, so you might consider using the Tier 2 selector on him if you don't have him, just to save yourself all those weeks of grinding and weeks of spending energy when you could be farming Uru, or you could be farming for other characters' biometrics. If you have all of those characters already, a couple of other good choices in terms of efficiency are the Epic Quest unlocking characters. So I'm talking about your Hellstorms. Well, they're not here. They're probably a little bit further down the road. I'm talking about characters that you need to unlock at 5-star variations in order to get further in your Epic Quest. So this would be a bit overkill. Again, a 6-star selector is better for all of these characters, but you've got your Baron Mordos, your Wongs, your Caeciliuses, your Ancient Ones, and your Hellstorms for the Doctor Strange Epic Quest. Hellstorm, I would say, is better than all 4 of these because the Hellstorm quest will lock you out of the Satanic quest for every day that you do it. So unlike these other quests, you're slowing yourself down a lot more. And Hellstorm is generally a better character than all 4 of these as a standalone. Also, you've got the Crystal and She-Hulk bonus from the Fantastic Four, and then you've got as well Thing from the Fantastic Four, who is a good support at tier 2 for Human Torch, so you might consider getting him just to back up your Human Torch if you want to push him a little bit further in other game modes. You're getting guard broken a lot, etc. We've already covered Sharon Rogers as an awful choice. Another awful choice, or another list of awful choices, i.e. characters you absolutely do not want to select at tier 2 from this list, are all of the check-in characters. So as part of this 8-week thing, we are getting a 6-star Iron Man, a 6-star Hawkeye, basically all the Avengers, Nebula, Black Widow, Rocket, Hulk, and that's it. So we're not getting Cap. We're missing a couple there, but Thor, I guess. But most of the characters are there, and so getting them at 6 stars will basically cut your work in half, and those are all cheaper tier 2s as well, so you wouldn't have to necessarily spend that much energy getting them to tier 2, so that's why they're bad choices for the tier 2 selector. And then, of course, all of the legendary battle characters are bad choices from the tier 2 selector. I'm talking the free 6-star War Machine that you get, the free 6-star Captain Marvel, the 6-star Ant-Man, 6-star Spider-Man, 6-star Black Panther, and 6-star Hulk. And then, Thor. My God. Thor. Finally, some other awful choices would just be any farmable character. Now again, if you have the energy and you can farm for them, the idea is better to farm for them and use the tier 2 selector on a character that you can't farm for. But if you really don't care and you just need a better character and you want to get his uniform, Venom's an awesome choice. You get the anti-Venom uniform, you have him at tier 2, he's functional in Shadowland, and you've got those heals. He doesn't need to be tier 2 for the heals, but it's just a bonus, and so on and so forth. If you're desperate to use Captain America, you could tier 2 him like that, but you automatically get him at like 3 stars when you start your new account. So there's a bit of inefficiencies there, but just make the best choice for yourself and for your account, or make the choice that's most fun for you and your account. Moving on from that, I want to talk briefly about the sale. I don't want to dwell too much on it, but the 4-year anniversary booster pack seems quite good. It's 8,200 crystals, which is a hefty price tag, but you can technically farm for these. You don't have to pay real money, and you get a mega rank up ticket, you get a mega mastery, and you get a mega tier 2. You get 3 fully awakened ISOs and 5 million gold. However, rewind there, and there is a sale once per week for a mega rank up ticket that always hits the maximum tier of purchases, which means that you also unlock a 6-star mega mastery, free a fully awakened chaotic, which is basically the best one that you could hope to pull from this. So you take the RNG out, and you get a couple of other rewards, and that only costs 2,600 crystals. So you minus 2,600 from this, what do you get? You get 5,600, I believe, or 5,800 crystals. And then there's another sale that happens, I think, once a month or every 2 months, where you can get a tier 2 mega tier 2 ticket. It's also a tiered sale. It also hits the maximum number of purchases every time, and that one costs 8,200, but it discounts you down to 4,100 when you purchase with enough people, which it always gets to that maximum purchase. So you technically do need to have 8,000 crystals saved up for that one, but it will cost you half of this. So basically, I think you're left with about 1,500 crystal difference. Let me just double check that. We're talking 4,100 plus 2,600 is 67 minus 8,200, 1,500. Yes, I wanted to triple check my math. So 1,500 crystals is basically what you're paying for 2 awakened ISOs and a little bit of gold. Is that really worth it? You also have to consider the other items that you get from this. I believe with the Mega Tier 2 ticket, you get 300. You get 3 100 bioselectors, which adds up to 300. And with the Mega Rank Up ticket, you get some other stuff. I can't really remember what it is exactly. You get some XP chips and stuff like that. Generally, this is not worth it. I think they could spice this up a bit. It's okay for like intermediate accounts that have a lot of crystals saved up and are desperate to use these. But these are really only useful for like 1-star Luna Snows or 1-star Ghost Panthers or 1-star Nick Furies to get them, immediately to 6 stars, then immediately to tier 2. Yeah, it doesn't seem good enough, and there are other sales that will give you what you need, especially if you don't need everything in this sale. You can kind of pick and choose, and you can kind of build your own plate rather than having to purchase this. So I don't really like this booster pack. I think they could have made this better. They've done this before, and I think it's been similar. But if they threw in like 500 boost points, if they threw in some tier 3 materials, even like 100 CCF, I think a lot more people would jump on this. Even just a small amount of additional rewards would help. And additionally, because it's costing so many crystals, but you're not getting loyalty points, it kind of also hurts for the whales who are spending that cash to get those crystals. So they're probably better off just spending it on something else that is going to give them the loyalty points. Finally, we have the check-in event. The check-in event is quite nice. It is an 8-week check-in event, and we get a whole bunch of different rewards from them. I don't really have a lot to say about this check-in event. We've had them before. It's always very nice, and it's amazing to see them still giving away so much free resources to all players, and it's not really gated by how long you've been playing this game. Keep in mind that it does have a 92-day expiry, so even if you start late or even if you miss days in between, that's okay. Just don't go too far away, because I think it ends in like June or something like that. But this is pretty much following. Is it 100 now? I think that's a bit of an improvement. I'm not sure. But this is following basically the same trajectory as that should so be mythic. The same trajectory as the old Infinity War update. So we could probably expect in about 3 weeks to a month another update for Endgame Part 2. So let me know what you guys think of the 4-year anniversary celebrations, the Shield Academy, the Tier 2 Selector, who you're going to choose. If you guys are curious who I'm going to choose from the Tier 2 Selector, I am actually going to choose Lash, because Lash is one of the last characters that I don't have at Tier 2. Let me go and find my list here. He's one of the last characters that I don't have at Tier 2. There's 5 here, and Ulick, Deathlock, and I believe Fandral are all half cost. They only cost 400 and 500 and 75 versus 150, 800, and 1000. So it's basically either Whiplash or Lash, and Lash is a better character on average than Whiplash because he's got the immunity and he's got the self-buffing leadership. So that's who I'm using it on. So I can get one extra Shadowland token per week, which is very exciting, and I can't wait to get that extra token so I can unlock one extra box every 10 weeks. And then I can get nothing. So yeah, let me know who you guys used at Tier 2. Nice. Subscribe if you enjoyed the content and you want to support me. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.